In November 1996 and March 1997, two hip-hop titans fell to gunfire in drive-by shootings that shocked the entire world. Decades later, the murders of Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur remain the most intensely debated unsolved homicides in American pop culture. Born in June 1971 in East Harlem to political activist mother Afeni Shakur, Tupac grew up surrounded by revolutionary ideology and poverty. After relocating to Baltimore during his teenage years, Shakur studied acting, jazz, and ballet at the prestigious Baltimore School for the Arts. In 1988, his family relocated again to Marin City, California, exposing the young poet to severe street violence and crack cocaine epidemics. Shakur began his music career in 1990 as a backup dancer and roadie for the Oakland-based hip-hop group Digital Underground. His November 1991 debut album, Tupacalypse, now confronted police brutality and systemic racism directly, earning national attention and political controversy. Meanwhile, in May 1972, Christopher George Latore Wallace was born in Brooklyn, raised by a single Jamaican immigrant mother in Clinton Hill. Despite winning academic awards in English at Queen of All Saints, middle school Wallace began selling narcotics on neighborhood street corners by 12. Standing 6'3" and weighing nearly 300 pounds, Wallace adopted the moniker Biggie Smalls and recorded rough demo tapes on cassette. In March 1992, his demo tape earned a feature in the unsigned hype column of hip-hop publication The Source, generating industry buzz. Young Uptown Records A&R executive Sean Puffy Combs heard the recording and immediately signed Wallace, recognizing his elite lyrical storytelling ability. When Combs was fired from Uptown in 1993, he founded Bad Boy Records, taking Wallace with him as the flagship independent artist. Simultaneously, Shakur expanded into Hollywood cinema, delivering a critically acclaimed dramatic performance as Bishop in the 1992 motion picture Juice. Shakur released his sophomore album, Strictly 4, My Nigga Z, in February 1993, generating massive commercial success with socially conscious platinum singles. During a 1993 promotional trip to Los Angeles, Wallace invited Shakur to his hotel room, initiating a fast and mutual artistic bond. The two rappers bonded over their shared love of lyricism, frequently sharing meals, performing together on stage, and exchanging industry advice. Shakur acted as an experienced mentor to Wallace, famously gifting him a luxury Rolex watch and advising him on business management. Their friendship peaked when they performed legendary improvised freestyle duets together at Madison Square Garden in New York, demonstrating deep mutual respect. In September 1994, Wallace released his debut album, Ready to Die, under the name The Notorious B.I.G., restoring New York dominance. The lead single, Juicy, became an instant national anthem, celebrating rags to riches upward mobility and establishing Wallace as a global pop star. As Wallace celebrated chart success, Shakur faced mounting legal crises in Manhattan, standing trial for sexual assault charges from a November 1993 incident. The exhausting criminal trial created immense emotional stress and intense paranoia around Shakur regarding who in his inner circle could be trusted. On the evening of November 29, 1994, Shakur arrived at Quad Recording Studios in Times Square to record a paid guest verse. Inside the studio ground floor lobby, three unidentified men dressed in army fatigues drew firearms and ambushed Shakur, demanding his expensive jewelry. When Shakur physically resisted the robbery, the assailants opened fire, striking him 5 times, including 2 dangerous gunshot wounds to the head. Bleeding profusely and miraculously surviving the barrage, Shakur dragged himself into the studio elevator and rode upstairs to the recording suites. When the elevator doors opened upstairs, Shakur discovered Wallace and Sean Combs working in a studio suite surrounded by their security entourage. Shakur later stated he observed guilty and surprised body language from Wallace and Combs, instantly suspecting they had foreknowledge of the ambush. Fearing assassins would return to finish the job, Shakur checked himself out of Bellevue Hospital against medical advice just hours after surgery. The following day, a heavily bandaged Shakur appeared in court in a wheelchair, where a jury convicted him of sexual abuse charges. In February 1995, a judge sentenced Shakur to 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison, sending him to Clinton Correctional Facility in upstate New York. While incarcerated, Shakur granted prison interviews openly accusing Wallace, Combs, and Bad Boy Records of orchestrating or permitting the Quad Studios shooting. Wallace vehemently denied any involvement or foreknowledge of the robbery, expressing profound shock and sadness over his former friend's public accusations. In early 1995, Bad Boy released the aggressive B-side track Who Shot Ya, which sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community immediately. Wallace insisted the song had been written and recorded months before the Quad Studios shooting and contained no references to Shakur whatsoever. Shakur refused to believe Wallace's timeline, interpreting the song as an intentional, disrespectful taunt celebrating his near-fatal shooting in Manhattan. In March 1995, Shakur released Me Against the World from prison, which debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. Shakur became the first recording artist in music history to achieve a #1 album on the charts while serving a prison sentence. In October 1995, Marion Sujanite, co-founder of Los Angeles-based Death Row Records, visited Shakur inside the maximum security prison. Knight offered to post Shakur's pending $1.4 million appeal bail in exchange for Shakur signing a 3-album contract with Death Row Records. Desperate for freedom and resources to combat his rivals, Shakur signed the contract, posted bail, and was released from prison immediately. Upon release, Shakur flew directly to Los Angeles and entered Can-Am Studios within hours, working with relentless urgency and creative fury. At the time, Death Row Records represented the absolute pinnacle of West Coast gangster rap, boasting superstars like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Tensions between the coasts had already boiled over at the August 1995 Source Awards held at the Paramount Theater in New York City. During an acceptance speech, Suge Knight publicly insulted Sean Puffy Combs, inviting East Coast artists who wanted creative freedom to join Death Row. The New York audience erupted in boos against West Coast artists, instantly transforming a personal rivalry into a dangerous regional cultural war. In February 1996, Shakur released All Eyes on Me, hip-hop history's very first double-disc studio album, celebrating his release from prison. Featuring the massive hit single California Love, the album sold over 5 million copies within months, making Shakur the biggest star in rap. Armed with Death Row's resources, Shakur used aggressive media interviews and lyrical attacks to wage relentless psychological warfare against Bad Boy Records. In June 1996, Death Row released Hit 'Em Up, widely considered the most vicious and direct diss track in hip-hop history. In the track's opening monologue, Shakur explicitly claimed to have had a romantic affair with Wallace's estranged wife, R&B singer Faith Evans. Evans consistently denied the allegations, stating Shakur was using her fabricated involvement as a calculated weapon to inflict psychological pain on Wallace. Refusing to take the bait, Wallace maintained a disciplined strategy of public silence, releasing no official retaliation tracks against Shakur. Music publications and mainstream news sensationalized the conflict, printing provocative covers that framed the rivalry as an actual East versus West war. As tensions escalated, both record labels employed security personnel with deep ties to rival street gangs in the Los Angeles area. Death Row Records associates aligned closely with the mob Piru Bloods, integrating gang members directly into label operations and personal security details. Conversely, Bad Boy Records security personnel frequently utilized members of the Southside Compton Crips for protection during visits to the West Coast. On September 7, 1996, Shakur and Suge Knight traveled to Las Vegas, Nevada to attend a major championship heavyweight boxing match. They sat ringside at the MGM Grand Garden Arena to watch Mike Tyson fight Bruce Seldon for the WBA Heavyweight Championship title. Tyson dominated the bout completely, knocking out Seldon in just 109 seconds and sending the sold-out arena into euphoria. Exiting the fight at 8:03 p.m., a Death Row associate spotted 21-year-old Orlando Anderson standing near a bank of casino elevators. Anderson was identified as a known member of the Southside Compton Crips who had allegedly robbed a death row chain weeks earlier. Shakur charged across the lobby and struck Anderson in the face, initiating a chaotic physical scuffle between Anderson and the entourage. Sajay Knight and several death row bodyguards immediately joined the altercation, knocking Anderson to the ground and kicking him repeatedly. MGM, Grand Hotel security surveillance cameras recorded the entire violent beating in clear detail, creating crucial forensic evidence for future investigations. Las Vegas police and hotel security broke up the fight within minutes, but Anderson refused medical attention and declined to press charges. By 8:05 p.m., Shakur, Knight, and their extensive entourage departed the MGM Grand and returned to the Luxor Hotel to change clothes. At the hotel, Shakur changed into a green basketball jersey and black jeans, notably choosing not to wear his protective bulletproof vest. Around 10:30 p.m., the entourage departed for Suge Knight's Club 662, located on East Flamingo Road, where Shakur was scheduled to perform. Shakur rode in the front passenger seat of Suge Knight's newly purchased, sleek black, 1996 BMW 750 IL sedan. A convoy of more than a dozen vehicles carrying bodyguards, artists, and friends followed closely behind the BMW as they cruised the strip. At 10:05 p.m., bicycle police officers pulled over the BMW on Las Vegas Boulevard for playing loud music and lacking license plates. Knight explained the plates were in the trunk and presented vehicle rental documentation, prompting officers to release them without issuing a citation. At 11:00 p.m., the BMW came to a stop at a red traffic light at the intersection of East Flamingo Road and Koval Lane. A vehicle containing two women pulled up to their left. Shakur stood up through the open sunroof to invite them to Club 662. At roughly 11:15 p.m., a late model, white four-door Cadillac sedan pulled up quietly on the right side of Suge Knight's BMW. The windows of the Cadillac rolled down and an unidentified assailant opened rapid fire directly into the passenger side using a .40 caliber Glock pistol. 12 to 13 bullets pierced the right side of the vehicle, shattering windows and puncturing the metal bodywork in seconds. Shakur was struck 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh, causing a catastrophic lung injury. Suge Knight suffered minor head injuries from flying bullet shrapnel and glass fragments, but escaped serious penetrating gunshot wounds. Despite his injuries and blown tires, Knight made a desperate U-turn and sped away west toward Las Vegas Boulevard seeking emergency medical help. Police officers flagged down the damaged BMW after it struck the curb near the intersection of Las Vegas Boulevard and Harmon Avenue. Paramedics arrived within minutes, removed the critically injured Shakur from the passenger seat, and rushed both men to University Medical Center. According to responding Las Vegas police officer Chris Carroll, when he repeatedly asked who shot him, a dying Shakur simply whispered, "Fuck you." At the trauma center, doctors placed Shakur on life support machines and induced a protective medical coma to treat extreme internal hemorrhage. Over 6 days of intensive care, vascular surgeons removed Shakur's right lung in desperate, repeated attempts to stop catastrophic internal bleeding. Outside the hospital, extreme tension mounted as loyal fans, reporters, and rival gang members gathered continuously under heavy police surveillance. On September 13, 1996, at 4:03 p.m., Tupac Amaru Shakur suffered respiratory failure and was officially pronounced dead at age 25. His mother, Afeni Shakur, made the heartbreaking medical decision to cease doctors' resuscitation attempts after his heart failed for the 5th time. News of the assassination sent immediate shockwaves through the global music industry, triggering public mourning and international media tributes. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department launched a homicide investigation, but immediately faced severe obstacles and a lack of cooperative witnesses. Despite dozens of entourage members witnessing the shooting, associates consistently refused to identify the shooters or cooperate with police interviewers. The white Cadillac sedan fled south on Koval Lane after the shooting and completely disappeared into the desert night without being traced. Within 48 hours of the Las Vegas shooting, intense retaliatory gang violence erupted across the residential streets of Compton, California. Over the next 2 weeks, 3 separate gang homicides occurred in Compton as Southside Crips and Mob Piru Bloods engaged in warfare. Compton Police Gang Unit informants quickly identified Orlando Anderson as the individual who fired the fatal shots from the white Cadillac. In October 1996, police arrested Anderson during a massive gang sweep in Compton, but prosecutors lacked evidence to charge him with Shakur's murder. Las Vegas detectives cited a complete lack of ballistic matches, physical evidence, or willing eyewitness testimony to justify a murder indictment against Anderson. In a 1997 televised press interview, Orlando Anderson publicly denied any involvement in the Las Vegas shooting, asserting his total innocence. On May 29, 1998, Orlando Anderson was killed at age 23 during an unrelated gang shootout at a Compton car wash. With their primary suspect dead and no new leads emerging, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's homicide investigation officially went cold. In the absence of arrests, conspiracy theories proliferated, accusing Suge Knight, corrupt police officers, and government agents of orchestrating the assassination. In New York, Notorious B.I.G. expressed deep public sorrow over his former friend's murder, telling interviewers he wished they had reconciled. Wallace publicly stated he hoped the coastal rivalry would be resolved through lyrical competition and communication rather than continued street bloodshed. In late 1996, Wallace finished recording his monumental double album, prophetically titled Life After Death, showcasing his expanded artistic growth. The album featured collaborations with mainstream R&B and pop artists, positioning Wallace to transcend hip-hop and become a global superstar. In early 1997, Wallace decided to travel to California to promote the upcoming album and shoot a music video for Hypnotize. His personal security advisor strongly warned against traveling to Los Angeles, citing intense, lingering hostility following Shakur's unsolved murder. Wallace insisted on making the trip, wanting to demonstrate that hip-hop was united and that he could travel safely anywhere in America. While in California, Bad Boy Records supplemented their security detail by hiring several off-duty law enforcement officers for protection during public appearances. On March 5, 1997, Wallace gave a radio interview on KYLD in San Francisco, explicitly calling for peace and regional reconciliation. During the interview, Wallace argued that media hype and external instigators had dangerously exaggerated the coastal conflict beyond the artist's intentions. On March 7, 1997, Wallace attended the Soul Train Music Awards at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles as a celebrity presenter. When Wallace walked onto the stage to present an award, significant portions of the Los Angeles audience greeted him with audible boos. Despite the hostile reception, Wallace remained composed and professional on stage, completing his presentation without showing anger or frustration. On the evening of March 8, 1997, Wallace attended an exclusive after-party hosted by Vibe magazine and Quest Records. The celebrity-filled celebration was held at the Peterson Automotive Museum, located on Wilshire Boulevard in the Mid-Wilshire district of Los Angeles. Wallace attended the festive celebration alongside Sean Combs, his wife Faith Evans, and an extensive entourage of bad boy executives and friends. By 12:30 a.m. on March 9, 1997, the Los Angeles Fire Department ordered the party shut down due to severe overcrowding. Hundreds of high-profile celebrities, musicians, and industry executives began exiting the museum into the cool, overnight air along Wilshire Boulevard. At roughly 12:45 a.m., Wallace's party departed the museum in a 3-vehicle motorcade to return to their hotel in Beverly Hills. Wallace rode in the front passenger seat of the second vehicle, a dark green Chevrolet Suburban SUV driven by Gregory Young. Sean Combs rode in the lead vehicle accompanied by 3 personal bodyguards, while a third SUV containing security trailed behind them. The Suburban carrying Wallace was driven by bad boy associate Gregory G. Money Young, with Damian Hall sitting in the rear seat. At 12:47 a.m., the motorcade came to a stop at a red traffic light at the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and South Fairfax Avenue. A dark-colored 1994 to 1996 Chevrolet Impala SS pulled up quietly into the right lane, directly alongside Wallace's Suburban. Witnesses described the Impala driver as an African-American male, dressed in a neat blue suit and bow tie, acting with precision. The driver drew a 9mm blue steel pistol and fired 7 to 8 rounds directly through the passenger door of the Suburban. 4 bullets struck Christopher Wallace in the chest, shoulder, leg, and abdomen, inflicting devastating trauma within seconds. An autopsy later revealed that 3 of the gunshot wounds striking his left forearm, back, and thigh were non-fatal injuries. The 4th bullet entered through his right hip and tore through several vital organs, causing massive and fatal internal hemorrhage. The black Impala SS immediately sped away, westbound on Wilshire Boulevard, vanishing into Los Angeles traffic without being pursued. Combs's vehicle made a U-turn and rushed the critically wounded Wallace directly to emergency rooms at Cedars Sinai Medical Center. Trauma surgeons performed an emergency thoracotomy surgery, but catastrophic blood loss prevented them from reviving the 24-year-old rapper. On March 9, 1997 at 10:15 a.m., Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace was officially pronounced dead at age 24. Just 6 months after Tupac Shakur's murder, hip-hop lost its second reigning king to an unsolved drive-by assassination on public streets. 2 weeks later, Life After Death was released, selling 690,000 copies in its first week and reaching diamond status. The double album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, cementing Wallace's legacy as one of music's greatest lyricists. The Los Angeles Police Department launched a high-profile murder investigation led by robbery homicide Detective Russell Poole. Detective Poole quickly uncovered disturbing networks connecting Death Row Records security personnel with active members of Los Angeles street gangs. Poole discovered that several off-duty LAPD officers had worked illegally as armed security guards for Suge Knight and Death Row Records. Shortly after the murder, LAPD officer David Mack was arrested and convicted of orchestrating a 1997 armed bank robbery in Los Angeles. Poole theorizes that Officer David Mack and his college associate Amir Muhammad executed Wallace's assassination on behalf of Suge Knight. The detective suspected Knight arranged the hit from cell blocks as direct retaliation for Tupac Shakur's murder 6 months earlier. Poole alleged that LAPD department brass actively discouraged his investigation into rogue police officers to avoid catastrophic municipal liability. Frustrated by internal departmental resistance and alleged cover-ups, Detective Russell Poole resigned from the Los Angeles Police Department in 1999. In 2002, journalist Randall Sullivan published El Labyrinth, a best-selling book popularizing Poole's police conspiracy theory to a global audience. Armed with Poole's findings, Voletta Wallace and the family filed a multi-million-dollar wrongful death federal lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. The federal trial resulted in a 2005 mistrial when a judge found the city had intentionally withheld crucial police homicide documents. The Wallace family voluntarily dismissed the lawsuit in 2010 to allow a renewed, independent federal investigation by the FBI to proceed. The FBI launched a multi-year civil rights inquiry investigating whether corrupt police officers participated in Christopher Wallace's assassination. After extensive nationwide surveillance and hundreds of interviews, the FBI concluded there was insufficient evidence to indict any LAPD officers. In 2006, the LAPD formed a dedicated cold case task force led by senior homicide detective Greg Kading to re-examine both murders. Kading's team approached both homicides as interconnected events, focusing heavily on Compton street gang dynamics rather than police conspiracy theories. The task force secured a breakthrough taped proffer confession from Dwayne Kefady Davis, a high-ranking Southside Compton Crip leader. Davis was identified as the uncle of Orlando Anderson, the gang member Tupac Shakur had assaulted in the MGM Grand Lobby. Facing severe federal drug trafficking charges, carrying life imprisonment, Davis agreed to an informal proffer session with investigators to secure leniency. During the proffer, Davis admitted he was the front seat passenger inside the white Cadillac during the 1996 Las Vegas drive-by shooting. According to Davis, Sean Combs offered his gang $1 million to assassinate Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight during their feud. Combs has repeatedly and vehemently denied any truth to Davis's claims. dismissing the allegations as complete fabrications and baseless falsehoods. Davis told detectives that his nephew Orlando Anderson fired the fatal shots from the back seat of the Cadillac across his body. Regarding Wallace's murder, Kading's task force uncovered informants alleging Suge Knight arranged a complementary retaliatory assassination 6 months later. Informants claimed Knight hired Wardell Poochie Faust, an active mob Peru blood associate, to assassinate Christopher Wallace in Los Angeles. According to task force findings, Faust allegedly received $13,000 to execute the shooting outside the Peterson Automotive Museum. Like Orlando Anderson, Wardell Faust was murdered years earlier during an unrelated Compton drive-by shooting while riding his motorcycle in 2003. Because both alleged shooters were deceased, prosecutors declined to file formal criminal charges, leaving both cases officially open in police files. In 2011, Greg Kading published Murder Rap, detailing his task force's investigative findings and gang retaliation evidence to the general public. The book significantly shifted public consensus away from LAPD police conspiracy theories and toward regional street gang warfare motives. Beginning in 2018, Dwayne "Keffy D. Davis began giving televised interviews and appearing in commercial documentaries discussing the Las Vegas murder. Believing his 2008 proffer agreement granted him blanket lifetime legal immunity, Davis freely admitted his participation in Shakur's homicide on camera. In 2019, Davis published a commercial memoir titled Compton Street Legend, explicitly detailing his role in planning and executing the shooting. In the book, Davis confirmed procuring the .40 caliber Glock handgun and directing the white Cadillac to intercept Suge K. Dyke's BMW. Legal experts noted that proffer immunity only protects against statements made during police interviews, not subsequent commercial book or media admissions. By repeatedly bragging about the murder in monetized books and podcasts, Davis voluntarily forfeited his legal protection against criminal prosecution. Recognizing the new evidence, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department quietly reopened the Tupac Shakur homicide investigation with renewed focus. Detectives cross-referenced Davis's public media statements with original 1996 crime scene ballistic reports and witness testimonies from the Strip. Investigators conducted discreet surveillance and gathered corroborating statements from surviving Compton street gang associates familiar with the 1996 events. On July 17, 2023, Las Vegas SWAT officers executed a search warrant at the Henderson, Nevada home of Davis's wife. Officers seized desktop computers, cell phones, photographs, bullet cartridges, and a copy of Davis's published memoir during the residential search. The seized materials and recorded media broadcasts provided prosecutors with the necessary evidence to present a murder indictment to a grand jury. On September 28, 2023, a Clark County grand jury indicted Dwayne "Keffy D. Davis on one count of murder with a deadly weapon. The indictment included a criminal gang enhancement, charging Davis as the principal shot caller who organized and directed the assassination. On September 29, 2023, Las Vegas police arrested the 68-year-old Davis while he was walking near his suburban Nevada home. Exactly 27 years after Tupac Shakur's death, law enforcement made the very first arrest in the legendary cold case homicide investigation. Prosecutors clarified that under Nevada law, aiding and abetting a murder carries the exact same criminal guilt as pulling the trigger. As the commander who procured the firearm and instructed the driver, Davis faces life imprisonment if convicted at trial. At his formal court arraignment, Davis pleaded not guilty to all charges, claiming his broadcast admissions were mere entertainment for profit. Defense attorneys argued Davis exaggerated his gang involvement to sell books and generate income during financial difficulties later in life. Prosecutors countered by presenting hours of recorded interviews where Davis recounted intricate crime scene details known only to direct eyewitnesses. The presiding judge denied initial bail requests, citing the extreme severity of the murder charge and Davis's documented history of gang leadership. In early 2024, a judge set Davis's bail at $750,000 with strict electronic home monitoring conditions. Trial proceedings experienced multiple delays as defense counsel challenged the legal admissibility of the original proffer agreements and media interviews. Meanwhile, the murder of Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace remains officially open and unsolved in Los Angeles Police Department cold case files. No individual has ever been arrested, indicted, or charged in connection with Wallace's 1997 assassination outside the Peterson Automotive Museum. The LAPD maintains that the investigation remains active and open to new evidence, though no significant leads have emerged in recent years. The contrasting legal status of the two murders highlights the complex challenges of multi-jurisdictional cold case investigations spanning 3 decades. Las Vegas prosecutors successfully leveraged public media boasts, while Los Angeles investigators lack living, prosecutable witnesses to secure formal indictments. The dual tragedies permanently transformed hip-hop from a growing regional music genre into a dominant global cultural phenomenon. Following the assassinations, hip-hop artists actively stepped back from violent regional rhetoric, promoting collaborative tours and cross-coastal musical partnerships. In 1997, artists like Wu-Tang Clan and Bizzy Bone released collaborations explicitly calling for unity between East and West Coast artists. Sean Combs released the tribute single "I'll Be Missing You" featuring Faith Evans, which topped global music charts for months. Shakur's posthumous releases, including The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory, sold tens of millions of copies, cementing his legendary status. Shakur has since sold over 75 million records worldwide, becoming an enduring international symbol of artistic rebellion and poetic realism. Today, Shakur's lyrics and writings are studied in university literature and sociology courses alongside classical poetry and political philosophy. Biggie Smalls is universally celebrated by critics and peers as one of the most technically gifted lyricists in music history. Wallace's signature multisyllabic flow and vivid cinematic storytelling influenced generations of hip-hop superstars, including Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar. In 2010, Tupac Shakur was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during his very first year of eligibility. In 2020, the Notorious B.I.G. also received induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, immortalizing his cultural contributions. The mothers of both artists, Afeni Shakur and Voletta Wallace, established charitable foundations to empower urban youth through arts education. Voletta Wallace has continually advocated for law enforcement transparency and federal intervention to resolve her son's enduring cold case homicide. Afeni Shakur fiercely managed and protected her son's artistic estate and unreleased recordings until her passing in May 2016. Dozens of feature films, books, and investigative documentaries continue to deconstruct every second of both fatal drive-by shootings. The 2018 scripted television series, Unsolved, dramatized the parallel police investigations led by Detective Russell Poole and Detective Greg Kading. Public fascination persists because the murders represent a tragic convergence of immense artistic talent, celebrity wealth, and unchecked street violence. For nearly 3 decades, conspiracy theories thrived due to initial police missteps, witness silence, and institutional secrecy surrounding the investigations. One prominent theory claiming Suge Knight arranged Shakur's murder is widely rejected by investigators, since Knight was in the direct line of fire. Another enduring myth suggests Shakur faked his own death to escape legal troubles, citing symbolic numerology in his posthumous albums. Law enforcement, hospital surgeons, and county coroners confirm without reservation that Shakur died from catastrophic gunshot trauma at University Medical Center. Regarding Wallace, rumors suggested rogue federal agents executed the shooting to dismantle the influential hip-hop industry during the late 1990s. Declassified FBI files revealed extensive surveillance of rap artists, but provided zero evidence supporting government participation in either assassination. The investigative reality of both homicides points firmly toward localized street gang rivalries intersecting dangerously with corporate entertainment wealth. The rapid influx of millions of dollars into young record labels outpaced professional security infrastructure, leading to dangerous informal protection. By employing active street gang members for security, Record labels imported violent neighborhood feuds directly into the mainstream music industry. Sensationalized media coverage of the coastal rivalry created an aggressive public environment where physical confrontation became almost inevitable for the artists. Music publications profited immensely from escalating regional tensions, printing confrontational interviews that deepened paranoia between former friends. In hindsight, surviving associates from both labels admit the fatal feud began over minor misunderstandings, pride, and poor communication. Investigators now believe the 1994 Quad Studios ambush was executed by local Brooklyn armed robbers rather than bad boy associates. Yet the resulting paranoia and public accusations permanently severed a genuine friendship between two generational musical geniuses. Today, the intersection of Flamingo Road and Koval Lane in Las Vegas remains a spontaneous public memorial site for visiting fans. Visitors from around the world continuously leave flowers, candles, and messages at the exact curb where Shakur's vehicle was struck. In Brooklyn, vibrant murals of Christopher Wallace adorn brick buildings throughout Clinton Hill and Bedford-Stuyvesant, celebrating his local legacy. In 2019, the city of New York officially designated the street where he grew up as Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace Way. In 2023, the city of Oakland, California, renamed a prominent section of MacArthur Boulevard as Tupac Shakur Way to honor him. The ongoing murder prosecution of Dwayne "Keffy" D. Davis in Nevada represents the public's best hope for judicial accountability. His upcoming trial will test whether decades-old proffer admissions and commercial book posts can secure a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. Meanwhile, Los Angeles police detectives continue to solicit public tips regarding the dark Chevrolet Impala SS that fled down Wilshire Boulevard. Advancements in forensic science offer slight hope that preserved ballistic evidence from Wallace's Suburban may eventually identify the unknown shooter. Until a formal arrest occurs in Los Angeles, the dual tragedies remain an incomplete and haunting chapter in American legal history. The murders of Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur serve as a sobering historical lesson on unchecked rivalry and violence. Their premature deaths robbed American culture of two vital poetic voices who documented the gritty realities of urban life with honesty. In just 5 years of recording, both artists created timeless musical catalogs that have outlasted their brief 20-something lives. The narrative of hip-hop's golden age remains permanently defined by their monumental artistic rise and tragic, simultaneous fall. As legal proceedings slowly unfold in Las Vegas courtrooms, the world watches to see if justice will finally arrive after decades. What is your theory on these unsolved cold cases? Like this video, subscribe to our channel for more true crime news reports, and comment below.